Hello everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Christina and Crew. This is the first installation of many self-help videos that I'm going to be doing. This particular series is in regard to virtual learning. As you read from the title, today's video is going to be all about virtual learning with a kindergarten student or any elementary age student in general. So this goes for grades pre-K all the way to 5th grade. I do work as a school secretary inside of an elementary school, and I also have a 5-year-old that's going to be starting virtual learning. So these tips are things that I made that would help me, and hopefully it will help you guys. And it's just some things I pulled from things that I learned on the job. So we're going to jump right into it. The very first tip I have is the attitude of the parent. So attitude plays a big part with virtual learning. As some of you probably learned at the end of last year, if your schools were shut down, children do tend to feed off of our emotions. So if you are fearful or nervous, or you kind of just have this attitude like, oh, this won't work, they're going to have the exact same attitude. You being confident as a parent is not going to remove all the nervousness or all the unsure feelings they might be having about school, but it will certainly help if you can be that shining light for your kids, and you can just show them that, hey, we're in this together, we are going to get through it, even if it's a little bumpy at first and we have a few things we got to figure out. We are going to do that, and we are going to make sure that you're getting to school and you're having the best virtual learning experience that you can have. So just take a deep breath and let's get ready for a great school year. Tip number 2 is all about being up to date and aware of the technology that your school is using to facilitate virtual learning. I know here in Maryland, in my county, we are using Schoology, and then they're using Google Meets. What that means for me as a parent is that I need to make sure that I have set up a Schoology account for myself so I can see my children's grades, their progress, etc. But what that also means is that I need to make sure that my kids have Google Meets on their computers, and that they also have the Google Meets codes so that they can join in the meetings for each teacher. Now, that brings me to the next point, which is about devices. I don't know how it works across the entire country, but I can say that in most school districts here in Maryland, you are able to request a device, aka a laptop, for your student. I highly recommend that if you are not sure what the school's policy is, that you call the school or reach out to someone so you can see if you are able to be given a device for your student at no charge. Contact information is my next point. You want to make sure that the school has your updated phone number, an email address for you, an email address and phone number for dad or whomever else is considered a guardian. During these virtual learning times, it is imperative that someone at the school can reach out to you, because there are a lot of communications that are going out via email, via phone calls. So you want to make sure all your information is updated and complete so that you don't miss any notifications. And you might be asking yourself, well, Christina, who do I reach out to in the school? Most schools, you can go on their website and find all the contact information. But the biggest emails that you probably want to make sure you have that people might not know about is the front office staff. That doesn't just include principals and vice principals. That includes your child's school nurse. That includes the secretary, that includes the guidance counselors, that includes anyone that handles student information. So when you go on your school's website, even if you only find contact information for the principal or the vice principal, maybe if you only find a phone number, I encourage you to call that number and get the email addresses for each person. And if the guidance office has a different phone number, get the phone number for the guidance office. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you can be in contact with someone. I know, being, like I said, a front office secretary, the best way to contact me is via email. I will see the email. It won't go anywhere, because unfortunately sometimes when you call, you can kind of get lost in the sauce. If you leave a message, it's a chance it might be a while before someone gets back to you. It could get deleted, who knows. The best way is to have yourself a paper trail, and that means emailing people and being able to say, hey, here's my email. I emailed you on Monday, and you know exactly who you're talking to, and you know that you have done everything that you can do to stay in contact with your child's school. And just to touch up a little bit more on the technology point, you want to make sure that you're also practicing FaceTime, Google Meets, that kind of thing with your kids. Now, I know it's not possible for you to get into the meeting before the teacher is there, but what I did with my kids is I downloaded Google Meets with my mom, and then we used that to FaceTime back and forth with my mom so that the kids are familiar being on camera. They know where to put their faces. It may not seem like a big deal to us as parents or iPhone users that are used to using FaceTime, Skype, any of that, but think about for a 5-year-old or elementary school child is not used to that, or maybe didn't do too much of that last year because they weren't in school yet. Practicing with family will be a great way for them to start getting used to seeing their faces on the screen and feeling a little bit more comfortable with the back and forth. You want to get them familiar with using the microphone. I'm more than sure that most teachers would probably prefer microphones be muted, but there may also be times that they want to hear from your student if they're saying good morning, if they're asking them a question, things like that. So you just want to make sure they're familiar with how to turn the microphone on and off, as well as keeping their face visible and just being able to follow along with the person that's on the other side of the camera. My next set of tips is going to push us right into what to actually do when the school year starts. I think the biggest thing that's going to help us as parents is maintaining a schedule. I do realize that most schools are going to give you a schedule, and that is great, but you should also have a schedule for your own family that you have. And for me, I post my kids in their room on the wall, but I also post it in other places in the home. Because if your student is downstairs virtually learning, you want them to be able to stay on track without having to run back to a certain area of the house to look at the schedule again. So definitely have your schedule posted in multiple places so that the kids can stay on task. And before we dive completely into the schedule, there are a few points I missed about contact information. You also want your contact information to be complete so that the teacher can reach out. I completely left the teacher off the list of people you want to reach out to, but yes, office secretaries, principals, and of course the teacher. And in terms of technology, you want to go ahead and get that stuff downloaded before the first day of school so that it's already on your desktop, you're familiar with it, and you can take away that first day of school frustration. Because if you get to the first day and you don't have the software, the kid is late for school and you're just frustrated altogether. So by moving back into the school day, that brings me to the next point. Even though I realize you are just on camera and you're not going anywhere, it still might be good for you to have your kids to put on clothes that kind of make them feel like they're still going to school. Like I said, nothing super fancy, but I feel like the way you dress has a lot to do with your attitude and your mood. So if you leave your kids in pajamas all day, it might kind of keep them in that lazy Sunday kind of mode. So it might be a good idea to just throw on a t-shirt and some jeans, not even necessarily shoes, just something that kind of makes them feel like, okay, we're getting up and we're getting the day going. Because like I said, attitude is going to be super important with you and the kids. And even for mom and dad, if you want to get dressed as a family, I think that would be a cool thing to do. Just have everybody get excited about the school day, get dressed, have breakfast, and just get ready to learn. So once you have your schedule going, you've got the software in, your kids are dressed and ready to go, you want to be mindful of attendance. In my school district, they are taking attendance. In the state of Maryland, you must send your students to school. So you want to make sure that you are maintaining your students' attendance. Everybody gets sick, everybody has emergencies, that's understandable. But you don't want your kids to be missing 2 and 3 days out of the week. I would say no more than 1 day, and only if it's absolutely necessary. Because if the teacher is taking attendance, they will be making note that your student is not showing up for virtual learning, and you don't want those problems. So attendance is big. All right, so you've gotten the school day going. It's lunchtime / break time. What might be a really good rule of thumb is to kind of get the kids either outside to do an activity or indoor doing some kind of exercise, just giving them kind of like a brain break. Just something that makes them feel like it's breaking up the monotony of the school day, because staring at a computer screen all day is probably going to be hard, especially for the younger ones. So you want to see if you can do indoor activities when it's cold outside, and maybe something outdoors when it's a little bit warmer. If it's scooters, bikes, skates, even if you're just taking a walk, maybe you're walking the family dog, anything just to make them kind of loosen up a little bit, you know, because again, 5 years old, it's going to be hard for them to sit still in front of a computer. They can't hardly sit still in class. So Let's get them outside. Let's get them going. Even if they have gym as a special, more than likely they're only going to be interacting with that gym teacher once a week. So for the other days of the week, you want to try to get them going, get that blood pumping, and kind of get rid of the boring kind of feeling that can come with staring at a screen all day. In terms of assistance, it's always a great idea to email or reach out to your student's teacher if they are struggling with any of the work, but it will also be good during this time to utilize some online resources. The Khan Academy is an excellent free resource that you can use. You just go on the website, you make an account for your student, and you can put in the age that they are, and it will show you units of work that are appropriate for your child's age. They also have videos with every single unit. So it's not something where your student would just log in and they're just looking at, examples. They actually do a video led by a teacher. I cannot tell you how many times, especially with this new age math, I've had to log Amara on to Khan Academy just to get a quick, better understanding of a concept that the teacher explained, 6 hours ago, and now she doesn't understand. Mom doesn't know the new way to do it, so Khan Academy to the rescue. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. For the younger kids, Khan Academy will be great, but what's also great is the teachers on YouTube. We discovered this last year when the school shut down. Jay was actually in pre-K, but the teacher only did virtual learning for half an hour. That was not enough. So we found some awesome teachers on YouTube that are teaching the same kind of content that his teacher was teaching. I'm going to list them below. I cannot tell you how great it was to be able to log onto YouTube and leave him alone with the teacher for an hour or so. It was entertaining, but also educational, and it just kind of took some of the pressure off of me as a parent to always have something for him to do, because younger kids, they do need to be kind of kept busy depending on their personality. And for someone like Jay, who really loves school, the half an hour just was not enough time. So I'm going to list in the description box of this video all the online resources I recommend, from YouTube to Khan Academy to whatever is going to help you and your little one get through this school year. One good tip to keep the kiddos on track: invest in an old-fashioned alarm clock. iPhones are great, computers are great, all that stuff is great. An old-fashioned alarm clock sitting on your kiddo's dresser, you're just going to put that on there, set it for the time. Each night before they go to bed, you're going to double check that it's good to go. Trust me, it will save your life. We got one for Amara, and it goes blaring off every morning, and she doesn't miss a beat. So I definitely recommend going to Walmart, Target, Amazon, whatever. Get yourself a cheap little old-fashioned alarm clock. They're like 10 bucks. It's going to change your life. And finally, I know in a lot of kindergarten classrooms, the kids get jobs. Whether they're the line leader, they're the person that puts away the supply, hands out the snacks, whatever it might be. It would be really cool to give your little one a job at home. It's probably not going to be being line leader, obviously, but it still might give them that sense of responsibility, and it'll give them that same feeling that they would get in class. So maybe you'll let the little one put the dishes away, let them help you sweep the floor, whatever it might be, just something that kind of gives them that same sense of purpose that they would have if they were in the classroom. Alright guys, that's going to pretty much wrap it up. The biggest takeaways I want you guys to get from this video are: reach out to the school. Make sure you have the secretary's email, the principal's email, and your student's teacher. And then vice versa, make sure they have all of your correct information. Because I think with all the craziness of this virus and school shutting down, people have gotten new phone numbers, people have moved. Make sure the school knows everything that's going on with you, anything that has changed, any difficulties that you may be having. Let the school know. Schools have lots of resources that can help you, but we cannot help if we do not know. So those are the biggest things I want you to remember. Make sure you're in good contact with the schools, make sure you've got the right software, and just make sure you have the best attitude that you can have so that that can kind of shine onto your kids and they can feel more secure during these just unprecedented times. This is new for everybody, so we're all learning, we're all trying to get through it. Let's just try to be patient. Be patient with your kids, be patient with the school, be patient with yourself, and just remember that we are all in this together. Let's have a great 2020 school year. I will see you guys in my next one that will be all about virtual learning with a middle schooler. See you there.